Here's a number that should bother you. 3 years leading a team, and not once, not one single time, have you said no to what they bring you. You've delegated everything, the budgets, the ownership, the work, and every decision that actually matters still lands back on your desk. That's not a delegation problem. It's something more specific and more fixable, and almost everyone solves it exactly backwards. By the end, you'll know why handing off tasks doesn't transfer authority, the one-question test that reveals whether you've actually let go, and how to give away a decision without losing control of the outcome. That's Sarah Linden, VP of Marketing. She spent 3 years building a genuinely autonomous team, real budgets, real ownership. But one decision always routed back to her: final approval on any campaign concept. And in 3 years, she had never once declined one. Not once. She wasn't a decision maker in that loop. She was a rubber stamp that happened to take a week. It's the same pattern a plant manager named James Aldrich caught in his own team. 3 sharp analyses of a vendor defect that all ended in a handoff instead of a recommendation, until he asked the question that cracks it open: what would you do if I weren't here? Quick gut check for the comments. Name one approval that still routes to you that you have never actually rejected. That's the one to watch. The book draws a line most leaders never do: the support versus reliance distinction. Support has a defined endpoint. Reliance doesn't. Help that never ends isn't support. It's a dependency you're funding with your own time. And delegation without an endpoint isn't delegation. It's relocation. You moved the work. You kept the judgment. Which is why the decision still comes to you. If a choice routes to you for a final signature, you didn't delegate the authority, you delegated the labor and held on to the call. That's the bottleneck wearing a delegation costume. And your team knows. They stop bringing you finished thinking because the system only needs them to tee it up. So, real delegation feels less like handing something off and more like refusing to take it back. In a moment, the practice that makes that stick. The book's tool for this is a weekly refusal practice, a structured, deliberate habit of finding the decisions that root to you out of pure habit and handing back the judgment, not just the task. Not, you handle the logistics. You make the call, and I'll back the version you'd make. The first few times, it will feel like abdication. It isn't. It's the first time you've actually delegated. Here's the reframe. Delegation isn't giving people tasks. It's giving them the decision and living with the version they'd make instead of yours. The control you're afraid of losing? You never had it. You had a delay. Run the test on any recurring approval. Have I ever actually said no to this? If the honest answer is never, that's not a decision you own. It's a bottleneck you can close this week. Free containment check in the description. It'll show you which decisions are still secretly yours. The deeper version is in When Leadership Creates Dependence. Next, why your meetings keep multiplying no matter how many you cancel. Subscribe.